Well, hello there folks, welcome back to camp. This is a slightly different camp to the one I'm normally at. So this is actually one of the first shelters I built and I absolutely love it. It's really nice. But I've been spending most of my time down at the other shelter, so it's a little bit neglected. So I've come up today just to actually do a little bit of work inside it. It's one of the ones that's actually completely waterproof as well, and also I can have an open fire on this particular camp. So I'm going to be cooking up some good food later on, so really looking forward to that. Starving at the moment. So I'm going to give you a little guided tour interior wise just now, and also just sort of go through some of the work and jobs that I'm wanting to do today, just to try and enhance it. And as I said, my aim with this particular camp here is basically to try and do a couple of overnighters over the next wee while. Still a little bit restricted work-wise, so I haven't been able to do any overnighters still. That might be going on for a little while longer, but hopefully it won't be too far away. So I'll give you a little guided tour just now. So this shelter is not actually that far, so there's the sort of big main shelter itself. So it's not dramatically far from it. There is a sort of walkway that I normally go up. But as I said, this was the shelter I built to start off with, so I absolutely love it to bits. So I'm going to give you a wee guided tour just now. So as I said, I've got a tarp on this particular shelter that you can see in the back there. So it is completely waterproof. And as I said, on this one I do have a sort of proper fire pit. But what's been happening is the firewall itself has collapsed, the table that I had's collapsed, the Bushcraft chair that I've got has snapped, and as I said, the table at the back, I'll take you in there, table at the back itself is actually sort of a bit rickety and sort of fallen over. But it's quite nice because again I've got sort of an entrance at the back there, or basically ventilation at the back. So again, the benefit I've got with that is when I do have an open fire, the actual smoke just goes straight out through the back itself, so I'm not too bothered with it. But it is absolutely lovely. I've then sort of made Bushcraft hooks, and then there's sort of natural stuff as well. Now, one thing I've sort of decided I'm going to do today, I'm actually going to cut off the main beam here, because I've got two supporting beams just there that I think are going to be okay taking the weight, and I never really actually had anything on the end here, so I didn't have it tied off to a tray. I did have it in a triangle, but in all honesty it didn't actually make that much of a difference. This is really solid the way it is, so I'm going to cut that off so there's a little bit easier access into camp, and then it'll be a case of us actually just getting the firewall put back up, table fixed. Another project for maybe another day is actually doing the whole table, gravity Bushcraft chair. I'll probably do that at a later date, and it's going to be a nice chill day. Just the noise of the birds is just absolutely amazing, and I have actually seen a couple of birds down on the bird table as well, so it's great to see. So really looking forward to actually I'm going to get some fat balls, etc., and put them down on there, and also have them hanging off just with twine, so the birds can actually enjoy it. But it's a stunning day, but it is meant to be sort of really squally, very heavy rain showers later on. But we'll get cracking just now and get this main beam off. So as I said, this has just all sort of died away over the last, I mean, this camp has been up, I reckon, maybe for almost 3 years. So it's all just sort of rotten and just sort of dying away. But again, one of the most important things I always do with this sort of thing is just making sure I leave no trace. So I'll be taking all this twine with me, but also using some of it for tying off the things like the firewall. And the other thing I always try and do is recycle. So from the point of view of the ones I've just taken off there, I can actually conceivably refreshen up the firewall just with the new bits of wood there. Right, let's get the main beam off. So that makes a massive, massive difference just from the entrance to the shelter, standing around the shelter. Problem was I was always having to duck under it, and it was sort of hurting my back, and it just wasn't very comfortable. So that's just going to make entrance into it. I've checked the posts, the actual support posts, and they're perfectly okay. Really, really rigid. And again, there is another option where I can put another beam in slightly closer to if I wanted to as well. Perfect. I'm just going to get everything else sort of set up, and then we'll get some of the tables fixed. So I can't believe the difference that's made looking out from the shelter, and it's going to be amazing from the bed, just being able to sort of look out onto the actual forest itself. But again, the two beams that I've got there are really, really sturdy, really thick, so I'm not going to have any form of problems whatsoever. But that is just absolutely beautiful. Just sheltering just now, it's hailstones just now. Because as I said, it is absolutely freezing, so just sheltering for a little bit just now, and then we'll get on to the next wee project. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So one thing I'd forgotten about this particular shelter was the mice. So I've just seen some rummaging around, and also heard them in the roof lining as well. So I had sort of forgotten that they were as bad as they are here. But beautiful still. I mean, it's more a case of on there is a slight tarp, a thin tarp that I've actually got, which makes this particular shelter waterproof. So they've eaten quite a lot of that as well, so there is going to be holes within it. I'm just going to be very, very cautious today, because I'm going to have a fire, and obviously that's going to upset them a little bit, so I'm going to be very, very conscious of just making sure that I'm sort of leave no trace as best as possible, but also I don't want to disturb them. But again, just sitting out in a bit of a squally shower just now before I move on to the next bit. So that's the table over there fixed. I've fixed the table inside here. I have come to a bit of a difficult decision. The Bushcraft chair that's in here was the first ever chair I made. But it has snapped, and but the bottom part of it seems to be okay, so it just seems to be the top V that's actually snapped. So what I'm going to do is I always try and recycle. I think I sort of said it earlier on, so I'm actually going to use that particular bits of wood for the fire for today, once I get sort of cooking. And the bottom bit, as I said, looks okay, so I'll probably just keep that and then just make the actual chair at a later stage in another video. So as I said, I'm just going to sit out the actual wind and the rain just now, get that done, and then it'll be moving on to the firewall at the back of the fire, getting that all fixed, getting it all tied off again, and then it'll be some lunch. I said, the bottom part of the chair actually looks okay, and also the two sort of main supports. So I'll keep them. So it's just basically snap there. Old age, bit like myself. But I said, not going to go to waste, because what I'm going to do is just chop all this up and actually use this for firewood for today. I'm just going to use a wood wall today. Oh, I just love that smell. Okay, we'll let that take just now. Well, I have to say I've been looking forward to this all day. And I do apologise, the smokes are going right across the front of the camera as usual. But no, you just cannot beat a campfire breakfast. Stroke lunch. Bacon just the way I like it. Wow. Okay, so I'm just finishing off this and then I'll hook up with you. Well, what can I say? That has been so relaxing today. So relaxing. Just brilliant, just coming out and just sort of working away at camp. So again, sort of hopefully you've enjoyed that as well. Very slow, didn't do much in the way of talking either. Just so enjoyable. So I'm just going to turn the camera around. We're going to go through some of the bits that we've actually done today. So we've rebuilt the firewall. So now that's actually there to protect it. And I've also put a wee tripod in there as well, basically just for when I'm sort of boiling water. Redone the table. I have removed the chair, but I'll rebuild another one. And then at the very back, just refixed, retied and sort of nailed in or hammered in, I should say, the legs for the rear table. But I think one of the biggest things from this is basically taking that big piece of stick off. What was happening before, I was banging my head, I was just finding it very restrictive when I was moving around camp, whereas now actually having just that gone there, you can just sort of see how much more room that is created. Brilliant, so much fun. I can't wait to do an overnighter in the woods, whether it be at this shelter or the bottom shelter. But the weather's been so bad over the last wee while, I think it's probably more likely to be this shelter because it is 100% waterproof. But I'd love to a proper amount of snow and actually stay in there, so fingers crossed. But I'm going to wrap the video up here. I've got quite a lot of tidying up to do and sort of making my way back to the van. But I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed today, so hopefully you guys have as well. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.